Okay, to start with, please take the tabletop and put it on something soft, such as the interior of the box, or on some of the soft foam so that you don't scratch the tabletop while you're doing the assembly. Okay, here we have our solid Acacia table laid out with all the parts. We verified that all the parts are there from the parts diagram. We also have the tabletop here, the underside of it, with our sticker showing that that is the front of the table. And now we have to locate the pre-dent indents on the bottom of the table that show where we're going to attach the side panels. So as you can see, this is a indent, and here is another indent. So these indents are located around the perimeter of the table. There's another one, and there's another one, and there are some in the dead center of the table here. And you'll need to locate all of them in order to put the aprons on and the drawer slide. We also attach a diagram of where those holes are located on the bottom of the table, just to help assist in locating all of them. The parts that we've identified and the screws, nuts, and bolts hardware pack are all listed on the first page of the instructions. So we're going to do step one now, which is attaching the slide crossbar that your drawer will slide in and out on. We've positioned it, it's part number 2. Notice that the wide part goes away from the table, and you can see here the indent for the hole and where the screw will go through down into it. We're going to use the A screws to attach this piece, 4 by 20 millimeter round head screws. And just screw them in till they're snug, and they don't have to be overly screwed. We don't want to strip the screws, so just find the hole and plug them in. The round part of part number 2, the drawer cross slide bar, goes towards the front of the table. And again, just get them in there nice and snug. Okay, now we've opened our hardware pack and we've separated the bolts, washers, knobs, brackets, and wood screws, and we provide an Allen key to screw in some of the screws. And then you'll also need a Phillips screwdriver with a shaft that has at least 3.5 inches on the length of the shaft of the screwdriver. And if you'll notice, there's an indent here for the screw to go in, and we'll position it over the screw hole. This is part number 5. Now we will attach the parts 3, 4, and 5. There are 2, 3 side panels, 1 end panel 4, and 1 drawer frame 5.
Give you a video of this maybe.
And your screwdriver can go right through the top of part number 5 and then screw in. That screw hole, by the way, is in the dead center of the tabletop. And again, just get it in there nice and snug. So it's still a little bit flexed back and forth.
This side.
On the 3s and the 4s and the 5s, make sure that the bracket notches are towards the inside of the table. Okay, again, find the indents, position your part number 3 next to where they're going to go in. Indent is here, your screw's going to go through and attach right in that hole. You can drop the screws through and kind of feel for the hole after the screws are all the way through the side apron, part number 3. So get the screw all the way through the apron, and then you can kind of adjust it right into the hole before you tighten it in. So the hole is going to be right here, and get the screw so it lines right up. And then again, you want to get the longer screwdriver, make sure that you can get through and get that properly positioned, and then screw it right in. And we don't advise using a drill on this because, again, we don't want to strip the wood screws. So part number 4, the end panel. Again, there's a screw, indent, in the tabletop. You can see right there, and then just put the screw through, and you'll be able to find that hole and tighten it up. Perfect. So now we position the brackets, the corner brackets on each side. You can drop them into the slides. They're not going to stay down at the bottom like that, but they'll have their exact position determined by the legs. So now we're going to position the legs and then use the bolts and washers through the brackets and screw into the holes on each individual leg. And those are female inserts. All right, now take one of the legs, put it in the corner, have one of your bolts prepared with the washer on it, and just finger tighten it into the leg. That gets your bracket set at the correct height. The leg should be all the way touching the tabletop. And now the other one will just finger tighten right in. You don't want to tighten these all the way until you get the other legs positioned. And here goes our second leg. And bracket to the right height, finger tighten it in. You have all your other bolts prepared with the washers on them. This will speed up the process. As you get these brackets positioned and get them tightened, this also helps secure the aprons on each side and makes them very rigid and solid. All of these pieces are solid acacia wood. There's no MDF, no particle board on any of them. Now that all of your legs are in position, you can use the Allen key provided, which fits in the end of the bolts, and just tighten them up. And again, you want them nice and snug. They don't have to be overly tight, but they should be nice and tight after this process. Notice that the washer's on the outside of the bracket in all cases. So we put all 4 legs on, and you can do it with 3 legs or 4 legs. You need one loose enough so that you can get the bottom shelf in position, which Vince will do now. So yeah, that's loose. So you put that into these brackets. I want to show one thing before we do that. And notice that there's no pre-drilled hole in the leg notches. These do not need pre-drilled holes. We just center them and screw in, and it'll hold them just as well as if there's pre-drilled holes, actually better. So again, oops. And using the one loose leg, we finally get them all in position. And then we can tighten our leg back up. Not really in that. There will be. There we go. Just get them all centered. Okay, just stop for a second. The 4 remaining A screws are what is used to tighten in the bottom shelf. We'll just go ahead and get them positioned in all 4 holes. And again, as long as they're centered, you don't need a pre-drilled hole or an indent. You just hold on to the legs and screw them in, and they'll tighten everything right up, and you'll have a really sturdy table frame after this step is over. Don't over tighten again. We want them snug, but we don't want to strip the screw in the wood. And while this is somewhat redundant, for security and for long-term viability of the table, we have the small wood screws which go in each bracket to help secure the bracket and keep the table permanently sturdy. It helps to take the small screw and push it into the hole to get it to stay in position, and then take your screwdriver and screw it in. This is step 5 in the instructions, and you use the F screws, the small F screws, to complete it. So the last step is to put the drawer pieces together, and here we have them 8, both 9s, a 10, and 11. 11 is the drawer bottom. It is made of plywood. And we're using the J screws to attach the sides of the drawer. See it, so there we go. So go ahead and put the 9 part attached to the drawer front. There are pre-dented holes on the ends of the part number 8, the drawer front, and make sure that the grooves line up, and so that you'll be able to insert the drawer bottom and tighten them up snugly again. After you have the 8 and the first 9 piece put in, you can insert the drawer bottom, and it'll go all the way down, and that'll help to keep your table square while you're affixing the other pieces. So the last part is to attach the drawer back. There are pre-dented holes on the ends of it. It needs to fit right over the groove and go square against the top. The drawer bracket should be on the back of the drawer. Place the drawer on the side, make it easier to screw the screws down in. So now we have our finished table frame and our finished drawer, and we tip the drawer up right in the center, and then tip it down, and it'll go right over the drawer slide. And now when you pull it back out, it will stop the drawer from coming out. And we're finished.